Okay, here is my code. It's broken down in mainly two parts. The first part uses a loop to create an array. The second part uses that array, formats it, and displays it on your screen. So first I define my array as a list. So it's called list equals empty brackets, which is an empty array. Next, I use a loop to take whatever word that you enter, and I put it in that list. So the first part of that loop prompts you to enter a word. The second part grabs that word and transforms all letters in that word into lowercase, and I'll get to why in a second. And so it gets that word and it stores it in the variable called word. Lastly, this last line in the loop here takes that word and adds it to my array. So the 5 times .do is our loop method. And so since there's a 5 here, this will loop 5 different times, creating 5 different words and adding the 5 words to our list here. The second part of my code sorts out the array in alphabetical order and then displays it in the right format. So first, I make my list in alphabetical order by saying list equals list.sort. Pretty self-explanatory, I think. Next, I grab the length of my list and store it in this variable x. And I do that by using the .length method. And I do this because if I wanted to change the amount of words that can be entered, I can just do that in one step by changing it on this line. Next, I define a variable called number and set it equal to 0. And I'll tell you why in a second. Which reminds me to tell you why I do this part right here with the lowercase. So that is to make this sort function work correctly. If some words start with an uppercase letter, then this sort function will sort the uppercase letters separately and the lowercase letters separately. So you wouldn't come out with a true alphabetically sorted list. And the reason I have this number here is I'll get to in a second. So that runs, and after you enter in your 5 words and hit enter, it will display your 5 words. It'll display here are your words and then your 5 words. So this displays here are your 5 words, and then it runs a loop. And this x, as we defined here, is the length of our original list. So since it's 5, this will be 5. If this was 50, this would be 50. So these loops correspond with each other in that way. And so inside the loop I have an if statement. And this if statement is what is in charge of making every other word uppercase. So our number here starts at 0. And this function asks, well, is this number even? If it is, then run this code, which makes it uppercase. If this number is odd, it makes it all lowercase. So if we start at 0, then the first number is 0, and it is even. So it runs this, and it makes your first word uppercase. But before the end of the loop, it adds 1 to that number. So the next time it loops around, this number becomes 1, and instead of running this part of the code, it runs this part and makes it all lowercase. And so there you have it. Let's demonstrate. And we'll be totally original and just do, oops, I spelled 2 wrong, but we'll just do the numbers here. And there you have it. 5, 4, 1, 3, all alphabetically ordered, and first one being uppercase with the next one being lowercase, and so on and so forth. And that is it.